Honi Harawira.
And a happy new year to you too. Mr Speaker, 2013 looks like being an exciting year for mana as we look to build on successful initiatives from 2012 and focus on being part of an effective opposition to National this year. I want to begin by expressing my gratitude for the broad support for mana's Education, Breakfast and Lunch Programs in Schools Amendment Bill, or the Feed the Kids Bill as it has become known, including the Child Poverty Action Group, Every Child Counts, UNICEF New Zealand, Save the Children, IHC, Poverty Action Waikato, the Methodist and Anglican Churches, Methodist, Public Issues and Anglican Action, Te Ropu Wahine Māori Toko i Te Ora, Māori Women's Welfare League, the PPTA, the New Zealand Principals Federation, the Council of Trade Unions Runanga, the New Zealand Nurses Organisation and the Māori Medical Practitioners Association. During election 2011, one of mana's main pledges was to fight for government-funded meals in poor schools, and in 2012 we drafted the bill to honour that pledge. That was immediately followed by the Children's Commissioner's Expert Advisory Group on Solutions to Child Poverty, recommending the introduction of a government-funded food program in low decile schools, and a major policy speech late last year from the leader of the opposition, calling on government to provide free meals to children in low decile schools. At this time, I want to thank those political parties who have already indicated their support for the bill, including Labour, the Greens, the Māori Party, and the newly independent Brendan Horan, who has given me his assurance that if the bill passes, he will refrain from singing to the House. I'm not sure exactly when the bill comes before the House, but I'm hopeful that there will be enough support for it to get to Select Committee. During election 2011, mana also made a commitment to a program of 20,000 houses in 2 years. That kaupapa was picked up in 2012 by Labour, with their commitment to 100,000 houses in 10 years, and enhanced by the Greens' own housing proposals announced last week. In 2013, I expect mana to continue to provide leadership in the fight for better housing for all New Zealanders, especially those in dire need right now. We want to see an end to policies which make it harder for poor families to access affordable housing. We want to see a rebuilding of the state housing stock. Now we call on the new Minister of Housing to take a fresh approach to this problem, to talk to and to listen to those people being hurt badly by current policies. People who are being forced out of state houses in communities like Glen Innes, Marae Nui and Porirua. People in rural areas like the far north being forced to live in unacceptable conditions with no hope of any help. Homeless people in Christchurch, Auckland and elsewhere, as well as those church and community groups working with the homeless and families on low incomes. And on another housing-related matter, Mr Speaker, I wish to invite all my parliamentary colleagues to the court case arising from my arrest at a housing action in Glen Innes last year. The case has been set down for hearing on March the 19th, but may have to be moved to another date to accommodate the growing list of witnesses who have offered to speak in my defence. I fully intend defending the case myself with the assistance of a number of lawyers who have offered their help at no cost. Should be a good show, Mr Speaker. The third plank in mana's election 2011 campaign is yet to be picked up by anyone else here, though I expect it to be adopted a lot sooner than people might have thought some 15 months ago. And that is, of course, the hone heke tax, or the financial transaction tax, as it is known elsewhere in the world. A proposal that had most political parties and political commentators sniggering during the campaign 2011, but which is quickly becoming recognised in other OECD countries as the only sane way to increase government revenue without stealing it from the poor by making the banks pay for the financial crisis that they created. A few days ago, the European Commission approved a proposal to implement exactly such a tax on all transactions between financial institutions within those 11 member states of the European Union that have approved it, without it affecting citizens or businesses, a tax that would raise a minimum of $57 billion a year. The hone heke tax, Mr Speaker, is clearly an idea whose time has come. I look forward to opposition parties coming out more openly in support of it over the next 12 months. Mr Speaker, on behalf of mana, and the people of New Zealand, I would like to thank the New Zealand Māori Council for their efforts to stop National's plans to sell off our state assets by instigating a court action over the Māori interest in water. In particular, I would like to thank Mana President Annette Sykes, who was a critical player in the tribunal hearings last year and remains a key player in the High Court hearings due to start later this week. The efforts of the Council and those hapu and iwi who have supported their case have forced the government to delay its asset sales program, giving the rest of the country time to push for the petition for a referendum on asset sales. The challenge now is to complete the petition and for all parties and organisations opposed to the sale of state assets to pressure the government to hold a referendum on asset sales to test their argument that that's what New Zealanders want. It isn't, of course, and Mana stands ready to do its bit to help put an end to the madness of selling our kitchen to somebody else and then having to rent it back for the rest of our lives. And as we move toward the end of the treaty settlement cycle, I wish to remind the House, Mr. Speaker, that the treaty lives forever, and that anyone thinking that the treaty will become null and void after treaty settlements have ended is sadly mistaken. The treaty is the taonga to Māori and the foundation of all constitutional arrangements in this country, and all attempts to write it out of legislation will be resisted mightily. Mr. Speaker, much has been made of the Māori Party capturing the headlines with a messy leadership challenge these last few weeks and calls from Māori Party members for me to come back and take over the leadership of the party. So let me make this clear. I have no aspirations to lead the Māori Party. Those calls have come from Māori Party members themselves. I am comfortable and proud to lead Mana, Mr. Speaker, a vibrant and active political force with a clearly identified constituency known as Te Pani me te Rawakore, the poor and the dispossessed, and policies aimed specifically at addressing their needs first, because people matter more than profit. But as I did right after election 2011, I want to again extend the hand of friendship and whanaungatanga to my colleagues in the Māori Party, and to remind them that there has to be a link between the fact that their membership has gone from 24,000 when I was there to just 600 last year, and their continued commitment to a government and its policies that have destroyed Māori families and Māori hopes and aspirations. I call on the Māori Party to walk away from that relationship and return to their roots, and I stand willing to take up the offer by the Ratana movement to host any discussions which might lead to unity and a Mana Māori alliance. Mana clearly has the vibrant and energetic membership and the strong and positive leadership. The only question is whether the Māori Party is open to unity. As we begin the new year, Mr. Speaker, it is fitting that we farewell those who have passed away in the year gone by and to send our best wishes to those in hospital today. To my whanaunga Raumati Para and Whaia Kōkō, may you soon be free of that which ails you, and I look forward to seeing you both in the near future. And while it's a rare occurrence for me to send best wishes to a policeman, I suspect there are many around the country who join with me in wishing Paddy Whiu all the best at this time. Paddy has become the face of Māori policing and iwi liaison, the gentle, smiling and caring face of a police force that is often mistrusted and sometimes reviled in Māori communities. At times when tensions are high and people's emotions are on edge, Paddy has that unique ability to lower the heat through his simple good nature, kind words and warm humour. Kia kahara, my friend, we're all praying for you. Ka hoki ngā mahara ki a rātou ko ngano, ko Jackie te kani tērā, ko Timi te heuheu, ko Honeka, ko Peter Tapsel, ko Rau Kapa, ko Mama Tere, me we rātu, me we rātu. E ngā mo te haere. Tātou anō rā e te kanohi ora, tēnā koutou, kia ora tātou katoa.
Honourable John Banks.
I rise on behalf